I lied to an angry mob to save a man's life, and when the police got involved, we all were horrified by what this man said. Honestly, I shouldn't even be telling this particular story, but I already made a promise that I will reveal everything I have experienced as a witness and a survivor. So, brace yourself. The year is 1992, and I had been on a year-long research in West Africa. By the time I finished, I barely had enough cash left to make a phone call, let alone pay for the flight I needed back to the States. Every option I checked was either fully booked or it was just way out of my budget. The only thing I can do now was to find a job so I can afford a flight ticket back home. As I walked down the busy streets one afternoon on one of my never-ending job hunts, I have only moved past a couple of shops from the last place I just sought for employment when I heard the sound of footsteps approaching far behind me. Normally, I would not think anything of it, but there was just something about those steps. As it got closer, it paced faster, and finally, the repeated stomping of feet on the ground filled my ears. Whatever it is that was far behind me is running towards me. I quickly turned around. Immediately, my eye caught a man sprinting past me with such speed that I jolted to the side of the road to make way for him to pass without colliding into me. As I just stood there frozen, watching him run faster ahead until he bent a corner, that was when I heard distant chatters coming from behind me, the same direction this man came from. I turned around this time to meet a crowd incoming. Their faces was masked with anger and resentment, each holding a variety of crude weapons from metal rods to thick pieces of wood and so much more. As they approached me, one of the men stopped in front of me and asked if I saw the direction a certain person just passed. And from his descriptions, it was exactly the same man that had run past me earlier he was talking about. But out of fear and because of the way he asked, and also seeing this whole group of people, this angry looking people, this angry mob, I replied, no, I didn't see anyone like that. Hearing my reply, he immediately turned to join his group far ahead. But I called him and asked, just out of curiosity, what is happening? Why are they looking for this person? And he told me that the person they are after is part of a notorious group that has been disturbing the peace in this part of the community for some time now. He went on further to tell me how this man and his group just ambushed a family traveling earlier today. They unalived the father and then proceeded to rob the entire family. It was the repeated sound of gunshots that drew the attention of them, the locals, who immediately swung into mob action, chasing after these guys. They had already caught 3 of these men, but one of them escaped, and they are after him. So as he went on telling me about the horrible things committed by this man and his group, we started hearing sounds coming from the mob far off in the distance. The commotion grew so loud that we both turned our attention to the direction it is coming from, and we realized that this sound being made by this angry mob was actually cheers. We both rushed to the scene and forced our way through this crowd, which has now gathered round, forming a big circle, and right in the middle, it was him. the very same man that had run past me earlier. He was bound on both feet and hands, and he laid on the ground, unable to move. He really is who they are looking for. As he lay there bound and unable to move, he just stared with fear at his captors and the surrounding crowd. He already knew that no matter how terrible he felt, it was nothing compared to what these people have in store for him. You see, in this part of the world, when people like this are caught by individuals and not law enforcement like the police, their captors sometimes take matters into their own hand to deliver whatever justice they believe is befitting of the wrong done by the person. As this man lay there on the ground and unable to move, he hopelessly watched these people bring and stack woods of various sizes, car tires, and many other materials together. A tear broke through his eyes when he saw them pouring gasoline over the materials they had gathered. He knows that this isn't a barbecue. Or is it? Immediately it hit me and I realized what these people were about to do. I began pushing my way through the crowd, trying to reach the opening in the middle where this man laid. I wasn't just going to stand by and watch these people carry out such thing. As I broke out to the middle, I was surprised to see that I wasn't the only one. We were quite a handful opposing what was about to happen, telling these people that this man should be brought in legally so the law can take its course. But these people weren't having it. They still strongly insisted that they must carry on with it, that it wouldn't be fair to just leave this one to the authorities when they had already done the same to the other member of his group that they had caught earlier. I quickly realized that there is no way to end this if the right authorities aren't involved, and so I quickly sprinted away from the scene and made my way to the police station, which by my calculations should take about 4 to 5 minutes, hoping solely that the people I was with, they would hold down the fort long enough till I returned with the police. When I got to the station, I reported everything and the cops quickly mobilized themselves. Apparently, this isn't news to them, as though this has been happening all around for some time now, and they have been prepared for such cases. As we stepped out of the building, from afar, we saw someone approaching, screaming and running with such speed that all the cops stopped and stood at full alert with their focus on this individual. As this person approached, the cops all called out to him to slow down, but this person, he paid no mind and just kept running straight towards the building. As he got closer, I finally got a good look at his face. When I realized who he was, I was so shocked that before I could speak, he was already up close to where I stood, which is the entrance into the police station, and he dashed straight ahead into the building before any of the cops could apprehend him. Immediately, every cop who just saw what had happened ran into the building after this man. When they finally caught him, I quickly ran inside to where they were, shouting at the top of my lungs that this is the man, this is the person I had told you was captured by the mob. This is the person I came to report. When all the commotion finally settled down and the man gave his statement, it horrified all the cops. He said that he, along with his friends, were on their way to the football field to go play soccer. Now, this football field is essentially a large clearing on an empty land not quite far from where that traveler and his family was robbed. When they got to this field and were about to start their game, That's when they heard gunshots going off. Hearing this, they left their game and rushed out to see what it was. On their way, they picked up sticks and whatever they could use as a weapon, because they are well aware of what has been happening around. In fact, they had recently joined the community watch, so it actually is a part of their duty to go and investigate what they just heard. When they arrived at the scene, all they saw was just the family, terrified and clutching tight the body of their father. And the people responsible, they were nowhere to be found. In that very moment, some of the locals appeared and saw this man and his friends standing next to this frightened family. They misunderstood and thought that they were the ones responsible. These young men immediately dropped their weapon and tried to explain to them that they had only just gotten here to see what happened and they couldn't find anyone responsible. They even went further to tell these people, who are now slowly increasing in numbers as more and more people are coming to the scene, that they are actually a part of the community watch. But still, this crowd did not believe them, saying that they were the ones who did this. Now these young men are absolutely terrified, because it is just only them against this huge crowd. The young men told them that the police will handle the situation best, because they have a record of active vigilantes and community watch member, as it was mandatory you register with the local law enforcement. As they turned to go to the police station, the people thought they were trying to escape, and someone stepped out amongst them and struck down one of these young men. He didn't survive it, and he unalived right at the spot. Now this same crowd rallied themselves into a mob and were about to do the same to the rest. Fearing for their lives, the remaining 3 young men took off, running to the nearest police station. In the end, this man was the only one who made it there.